Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. And having been made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who obey him. Please be seated. On a steamy August night in 1955, two white men drove up to the house of a black sharecropper. They demanded to see a 14-year-old boy from Chicago who was staying with them, with the man. They abducted the boy. They beat him beyond recognition. They shot him and dumped his body in the Tallahatchie River. That boy's name was Emmett Till. And all of what unfolded that night happened because he had whistled at a white woman and allegedly said something to her. The two men who abducted and killed him would never be brought to justice. They were both acquitted by an all-white jury. The lynching of Emmett Till became a catalyst for the civil rights movement. It unmasked the violence and injustice at the heart of American life and the perpetual devaluing of black lives. Emmett Till became a martyr for a movement, a rallying cry for the struggle for civil rights. His death galvanized a generation to risk their own lives so that there might never be another Emmett Till. About her murdered son, Emmett's mother, Mamie Till, once said, "Lord, you gave your son to remedy a condition. But who knows but what the death of my only son might bring an end to lynching." It's Good Friday. On this day, we hear the culmination of Jesus' story as he is sentenced to death on the cross and lifted up for all the crowd to see. We join with the disciples and his mother in their agony, the devastation of their loss and their grief over the movement that Jesus had started, that seemed like it might all come to an end there on that cross. Crucifixion is an example of state-sanctioned violence, the powerful asserting their power. And Jesus' death is the result of collusion between the empire, the religious authorities, and a bloodthirsty crowd. What puts him on the cross is the human desire to assert our power and control, and willingness to create victims in the process. By accepting death on the cross, Jesus becomes that victim. And that is what brings us to the central paradox of Christianity. That by accepting that fate, by giving himself over to death on the cross, Jesus offers a path to the redemption of the world. He unmasks the violence of the world in order to defeat it, to redeem it, to assert a kingdom that is not of this world. A kingdom of justice and love in the place of the one in which the powerful oppress the powerless, the one in which hate divides people from one another. His death will not be his defeat, but will inspire all who come after him. It will be a testament to God's love for the world and the kind of love that is possible between all people. In his book, The Cross and the Lynching Tree, the theologian James Cone explores the interconnection between the cross that Jesus died upon and the quintessential American symbol of the lynching tree. He explores both what they mean, what they both reveal about humanity's tendency towards violence, and the paradoxical hope that they both contain. Every instance of lynching is an unwarranted death of someone at the hands of the powerful, conducted with the intention to suppress and terrify. It is, in essence, a crucifixion. Jesus was labeled a criminal, captured in the darkness of night, denied a fair trial, and sentenced to die for his affront to the authorities of his day. Emmett Till was labeled a criminal, captured in the darkness of night, denied any trial, and executed at the hands of those who knew they could get away with it. In Till's story and its powerful connection to the cross, James Cone sees a profound truth. That on the cross, Jesus becomes one of the lynched, the crucified, the outcast, one of those who suffers at the hands of society, who has deemed their life dispensable. In the conclusion to his book, Cone will go on to write, "The real scandal of the cross is this. Humanity's salvation is revealed in the cross of the condemned criminal Jesus. And humanity's salvation is available only through our solidarity with the crucified people in our midst. Jesus became one of the crucified so that he might welcome them into the abundance of God's life. And by aligning himself with the crucified, he challenges us to do the same, to encounter Christ in the crucified people of our own day. As he puts it, when Americans realize they can meet Jesus only in the crucified bodies in our midst, they will encounter the real scandal of the cross. The cross is not a symbol of a distant past, but a present reality in our own country and around the world. The challenge for us as people who seek to follow Jesus is to encounter Jesus on the cross in our own time. So I wonder, who are the crucified ones in our own midst? Who is God challenging us to reach out to and stand in solidarity with? I think of the children and innocent civilians of Gaza, living under constant threat of bombardment and starvation, as well as those Israelis who are still held captive. I think of Russian dissidents willing to speak out despite the risk of imprisonment, exile, and death. And I think of Black Americans living still under the threat of police brutality, conditioned to believe that any minor encounter could be their last. I think of migrants denied asylum and left to die in the desert, and transgender adolescents who have been denied gender-affirming care. I think of the unhoused in our own communities, unable to access adequate shelter, abandoned by an underfunded social safety net. The crucified are all around us. They are with us. And it was into their experience that Jesus entered when he was scorned, beaten, and hung up on the cross. He acted in solidarity with those whose suffering is the greatest, so that he might bring all of our suffering into God's loving embrace. His willingness to become one with the crucified is a profound gift for us and for all humanity. But it's also a challenge. How will we stand with the crucified ones of our own day? Will we wipe our hands of their suffering like Pilate in his court? Will we join the crowd and cheer, "Crucify him"? Or will we bear the cross with them and reach out to them in their pain? Will we seek God's justice, or will we hide behind our own comfort? Will we cling to the darkness, or will we reveal God's love to the world? May the cross always teach us and point us down the road of Christ's way.